Okay, so we're going to introduce these guys to you. We've never done this before. These are Salt River Reservation from the Indian Reservation in Arizona, Mustangs that we are going to help train and rehome. Okay, so these are two Salt River Mustang fillies that we picked up from the reservation. We are going to be gentling them and training them and finding them new homes. It's a new partnership that we are entering with the reservation. We really hope it works out because these are some cool horses. They are Spanish Barb Mustangs. They have a really neat history, kind of a secluded herd, so a lot of really pure blood, not a whole lot of other introduction. And you can really tell by looking at them, especially their head, how much Spanish blood they have in them, and they're Spanish Barb. So they're kind of neat. I think we might send off their DNA just to check them out. Be interesting to find out what they come back as. And they're not, humans aren't completely foreign to them. They see people every day. They are wild, though. They do live out in a wild herd on the reservation. And they haven't been touched or handled or anything. So this is Nube, which means cloud in Spanish. And this is Citro's first session with her. And he did rope her with the soft rope and just kind of working with her. She didn't really want to face up to him, so he didn't force the issue. He did a lot of just desensitizing her with the rope on her body. Very encouraged by the results of this because she's not really reacting to that rope a whole lot. She's not kicking at it, which is all great stuff. I think that she has a really good mind. She's got a really soft, real pretty eye, very refined looking, and we believe she's a dun skin. I had a friend of mine who's much better at color than I am look at her, and she thought she looked like a dun skin because you can see the dorsal stripe that goes into her tail. She's kind of this light creamy color, kind of a neat looking color. There was a lot of color in this herd, a lot of very primitive colors, which is kind of cool to see. And you can see her, she's nervous, but she's not having big reactions to this. And the little Bay Roan belongs to a friend of ours. We picked him up at the same time, but he's gentle already. He's a BLM Mustang. We were just hauling him for her, and they kind of buddied up in the trailer, and they're friends, and they're stable next to each other. So he was very reassuring to these two fillies, as you'll see. And Nube here, she's only a yearling. She's not that old. She's got a lot growing up to do, but her conformation and everything is really, really pretty. These horses are smaller, but they are put together nicely. And I'm kind of really excited to see what else we can do with them. So here he's just putting a little bit of pressure on her to try and get her to, yield to that rope. And I apologize for all the background noise. We're driving, and I'm trying to get these videos done while we're picking up some horses and dropping some horses off that are in training. And that was really nice. So he kind of pulled on her, and she's, softly kind of gave to him, and she's learning how to give to that pressure. And he's getting a little bit closer, Just kind of fun to watch. I had to cut this video because it's a lot longer than this. And that was a little bit too much for her. Went over a threshold and she kind of went away. But you see, he allowed her to kind of go away, not really stopping her from doing that. And then he'll go back and he's doing something that she was more confident doing to kind of build her confidence and her trust again. So that's always a really good thing to remember. If you go over a threshold and they have to, they run away or they freeze or they explode or something like that, go back to something that they know, that they were confident on, and rebuild that confidence in them before you try to push those thresholds again. And it worked really, really well with this filly. I just gave her a little bit of space, worked on that rope, touching her on her butt and her legs, which she had gotten confident from before. And then this is also a really good thing to try and do with a horse that's nervous is to put, them near a calm buddy horse like this. And this guy's so funny. You can see he's, I'm like air quoting here, he's helping, pulling on that rope, and he's just being a baby. He's only a yearling too, which is just so funny. He's pulling on the rope on her neck. But just his kind of calm presence there really helped her a lot, kind of settle down. And you'll see too, Sitter plays with him a little bit and rubs on him. And after she watched him do that, she let him get a little bit closer. So just them seeing that another horse can be touched and played with and they're not upset about it, it can do a lot to build their confidence and their trust. So, whatever you have in your toolbox to kind of use to help a horse out, go for it and use it. You can see as a good example of her color there, that dorsal stripe that goes all the way through to her tail. So she's a pretty cool color. And it was raining, so she's kind of muddy a little bit. But she's this very, very creamy color with the rest of her. And he's just working on getting closer and closer. And here is another view. You can see he's getting even a little bit closer. When she looks at him, he backs off. So when she looks at him or tries to touch him or sniff him or give him some kind of acknowledgement, since she just kind of wanted to turn away and put her butt to him, just giving this acknowledgement, like looking at him is really what he's after. Not even necessarily touching her, and so that was great. She really looked at him there, and that's what he was after in this first session with this particular horse. And you'll see the next horse is got a different personality, and they do things a little bit differently. And getting really close there. And that was nice. And she's totally engaged there, which is exactly what he wanted. And then here he was able to pull that rope to loosen it a little bit because he wants to take it off of her now. Since she came that far, oh, that was great. She really kind of looked and sniffed at him, and I think they even got a first touch there. And then he's just going to take it off and end the session on that. That's a really good positive session. It's one of those things where, you just got to ask enough and not expect too much. And this is another day. This is Nube in the chute. We have a chute that we can put them in if we need to, say, give them medication or treat them for something. And then also if we want to put a halter on them, it's a lot less stressful, we have found, if we just slowly put a halter on them here, and also less time consuming than trying to put a halter on them, loosen their pen. And here she is. She's pretty flexible. She was really kind of interesting though. She did not hurt herself at all. She was really careful. You see how she really was careful with her face. She didn't scar up or hit her face. She didn't hit herself anywhere. She was just kind of checking it out. This horse is super smart. And Isidora's she's a little bit further along now. And Isidora's just saying there's a lot of fun to work with because they're just super smart and not terribly reactive. So this is the first time he's really, really rubbed on her face and stuff. And you can see she's, thinking about it. And he's just trying to rub her a little bit because he's going to put that halter on. He wanted to just kind of see how she's going to react with that. The other one just giving her some time. We don't want them to get too upset in here. And eventually we're going to put a stand where he's standing right now. There's going to be a stand there so he can stand on it. And then we're going to make those walls more solid looking so they feel a little bit safer in there. Then it's harder for them to see. And sometimes they think they can go through the pipe, and so we want to make a little bit more of a more solid wall. But this chute we got from a friend, helped us get it in Texas, and we hauled it all the way back to Arizona, and it's worth every penny. It's just really, really helps if you're doing a lot of Mustangs. It's handy to have this chute, especially say if you have one that you need to give medicine to. And she handled this so good. And you can just kind of see how he's doing it. It's a good technique that, of course, we picked up from the BLM guys because they do this all the time. Just kind of having a string attached to that buckle So it's a little bit easier. And you could see once she decided to accept this, she was really pretty calm with it.
Do you want me to push her back and then you go around and I'll push her back?
And that's huge. Yeah, she was really pretty cool with him touching her once she decided that she was not in danger. So see, he let her kind of see that because it kind of looks like a snake. He wants to put it over her back so she can go back to her pen. And she handled that so good. Like with her, I mean, you could see if you watch her, she wasn't really flinchy or twitchy with that, which is also another really good sign. And what a pretty girl. Look how pretty her little eye is.
Yeah, kind of scary, huh?
So then we're going to open that up and back her out, and then she'll go back to her pen. Her pen is in the back, and we have a bit of a chute, so we can kind of funnel them off in the chute. So you're just going to quietly walk by her. So that will help, too, if we had more of a solid wall. It won't be so scary when they walk by. So you can say, woo, that made a lot of noise.
Good girl.
Look how pretty she is.
That's scary, huh?
So she's just a yearling, maybe 18 months old. So maybe a little over a year, just by looking at her. And so she wasn't backing up. She just couldn't quite figure out how to back up. So she's calm enough that we just opened it up and let her turn around in this little space here. Because I mean, that's not up there very solid. Like another Mustang would just blow through that. But she's super smart and kind of a thinker instead of being super reactive. And you can see her.
There you go.
Just kind of turn herself around here. I mean, how easy was that? She just figured that out. She's like, oh, okay. And then she just walks. She walked all the way back to her pen. See, there's just a chute down there. And she just strolled on right to the pen, knew exactly where she's supposed to go. Smart little girl. So this is the other filly that we picked up. This is Titania, which means titanium in Spanish. And she is a 2-year-old. So she's a little bit older, a little bit bigger than Nube. And he's going to go ahead and try and rope her here. Able to get that over her head. And she's a little bit different. So the other one wanted to kind of hide and put her head in the corner, put her butt to you. And this gal is a little more bold, and she will look at you, which is kind of nice to train. She sees she's really kind of honed in on him and checking him out. These type of horses that really kind of focus and look at you, you always have to just be very aware that they're the ones that might want to kind of come at you a little bit, maybe try and bite you or strike you. They're a little more bold. That's okay. That's just their reaction when their threshold is gone. You know, you've gone over their threshold. So just keep that in mind. They're not going to necessarily run away from you like Nube would. She would kind of want to run away, put her butt to you. This one's more of a kind of face up and challenge you a little bit. And there's nothing wrong with that. That's just her way of showing that she's gone over threshold. So our goal, of course, is to not go over threshold. And you see he's just putting a little bit of pressure on her neck to kind of get her to continue looking at him. And he's just barely slowly inching up. And same thing with the little yearling Mustang over there who's already gentled. He's kind of using a buddy system of, hey, look at, he's not worried about us. We can approach him. And I think Isidore even pets him here. Yeah. So just kind of show him, hey, look, I can pet him. He's not afraid. He's just like you. So it's a nice little technique you can use. Works on some horses, especially if they're kind of a calm, easygoing temperament, like this little yearling Mustang that's already gentle. He's kind of got a very calm, and he made friends with them already, so they like him. So it's so funny because you can really see her watching. Like, she's studying him hard. Like, oh, you're touching that other horse? Okay. He's just going to kind of inch his way on up. See what she can handle. And you can see that just the difference in personalities. Both these fillies are super, super easy. And this girl, we're just going to, get a good ground foundation on her, and then she's available for sale. So if you like her, let us know, because she's pretty special. These Spanish Barb Mustangs, super, super pretty. I think she's going to mature. I mean, if this is her 2-year-old awkward stage, I can only imagine what she's going to look like, fully matured. And you see how she, had touched his, kind of sniffed him and looked at him, and he walked away and gave her a break. That's so important. That release is huge. And when they give you a big effort, giving them a big release by really walking away is huge too. So he's just able to kind of reach up and touch her on the nose there. And she's very engaged in the training, which is what we really, really like. I'm not quite sure what happened there. That's pretty cool. And so I like how he's kind of given her a little bit of space here. He's trying to see if maybe he can yield those hindquarters and bring that neck over. He puts a little bit of pressure on it. I think she ran around a little bit. On here, I think he was just so happy with how good she did that he ended that set. It was a pretty short session. She gave a lot of try, and so he used his little stick with the hook to pull on that lead rope, and then he's just going to pull it off. So roping doesn't have to be this traumatic, scary, dramatic thing. It can be pretty soft and nice like this too. It just really depends on the horse you're working with and your own style. That's pretty cool. He's got no tension on her at all. She's just willing to let him do that. And that's a great first start. He's just kind of feeling that rope. He's moving it back and forth on her pole. He's preparing her for haltering. Because she knows what it feels like to have something up there. And she could run away, and she hasn't run away, which is great. So he's just doing enough to make her a little uncomfortable, but not too much where she feels like she needs to exit stage left. There we go. That's a great session. I like how she's watching him. So here we got her in the chute, put a halter on her. I didn't get enough videoing. I was doing other stuff, but excited to keep looking at her. Look at how great she's doing.